hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
I love me a extended weekend.
Yes, it's always a
Hold on,
bliss.
question. Why'd you question me? Like,
Because of the way you paused. So I'm like, I thought you said I love me, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, where's this going? You know?
I mean, yes, I do have a massive ego, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna just walk around saying I love me.
It's just the pause. That's where it got me.
You pause for emphasis because you need to pause for dramatic effect, right?
But when we talk about long weekends, I always ask the question, why don't we have 3-day weekends?
It's because a really long time ago, I think around the Industrial Revolution, somebody decided that a 5-day workday, or maybe in some cases 6-day workday, for the people who are unfortunate enough to work 6 days a week, is the best thing for everybody in the world.
Wow.
Which obviously a lot of people, including a lot of scientists or researchers, etc., who found that recently. And I'm pretty sure you've seen those researches, those articles all over the internet. Basically, they found that no, a 3-day weekend and a 4-day weekday is a lot more productive.
Why is this never the case?
And also, they realized that now during the pandemic, a lot of people were as productive or even more productive than they usually are in an office in comparison to when they're at home. Now, obviously, there are people who prefer not to work at home, but it just shows you that a lot of those work options could easily be flexible, whether people want to have flexible hours, flexible locations, whether they can work at home versus working at the office. And just like I said, 3-day weekends and 4-day weekdays.
I guess we could say capitalism has a few flaws in its system.
We're not going to get into that, but it certainly does. Every once in a while, people start realizing things, and hopefully those realizations can eventually lead to something good. Maybe not for our generation, sadly, but perhaps the upcoming generations can figure out things and make it a better life for them. But what's better the afternoon Karak on Pulse 95? A lot of things, but also we are up there on the list of really cool things, starting with this big Sonic announcement. Goodness, that one was the weirdest, I'd say the weirdest cast I've ever seen.
Yes.
And that is Knuckles from Sonic has officially been announced. Obviously, we know he's going to be in the second installment, but who's playing him? Now, that one was a shock.
I wish I have the sound effect from the game where Knuckles says, "Oh no." Oh no.
I mean, it was exactly that, but not really. Oh no, I'm a bit optimistic about it. No, we can talk about that a little bit later.
What I'm not optimistic about is that there is a new comedy series coming out called How I Met Your Father.
As if they haven't learned from the previous show, How I Met Your Mother.
God.
And this one is very personal to me because I'm going to go off when we're talking about
Please
this.
do. I have nothing good to say about that show.
Fans of How I Met Your Mother or people who have watched it, they probably know exactly where I'm going to go at this. Also have a rumor that is kind of very viable. And that rumor says that Disney has cut off all ties with Scarlett Johansson. Now, even though it's a rumor, I think that it very much can easily be true. Now, here's another story that I really like. Can't wait to talk about this one. It says that a Spanish village seeks the UNESCO World Heritage status, not because it has some interesting buildings or unique food or some unique feature, but rather because they claim that they have the best outdoor chats ever.
Okay. I mean,
very bold statement.
You can try. I mean, people always submit to Guinness World Record. Why can't this work?
UNESCO is not the same as the Guinness World Book of Record. This is like very, very serious. But I love their optimism. And this is just a little bit, a sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about in this hour from 4 p.m. till 5 p.m. The Magic Hour, also known as the Afternoon Karak.
Pulse 95.
It's official. Idris Elba is going to be voicing Knuckles from Sonic. And my question is, will he have a British accent?
I don't think so. I mean, can he play off an American accent very well?
I don't remember. I don't recall any sort of role that really requires him to have a very strong or at least a neutral American accent.
Yeah.
Yes, we just saw him as Bloodsport, but even as Bloodsport, he kind of did have like a slight British accent. It's just a tiny one. Like it's there in the background. It shows that he's not American. So does that mean we're gonna get our first British Knuckles ever?
It would really sound off, in my opinion, because Knuckle has he sounds like a jockey, you know? That's like a high schooler.
No, here's the thing.
Jockey kind of.
Not really. He
like,
does,
hey, Sonic.
He does have that.
Let's go. I don't know. Something
Are you talking about the same Knuckles? Because that sounds like a gravelly Sonic, and that's not Knuckles.
That's how I've seen him in Sonic Boom, and
I've seen him as well. If I remember correctly, Knuckles does have a deep voice. Knuckles,
kinda.
He does.
It's a deep voice, but it's also very playful, like let's go Sonic, or
it's deeper than that, definitely.
Let's go
And listen,
Sonic.
in terms of hitting the right tone, yes, it is within Idris Elba's range. I'm just worried about the accent. That's it.
You know, this is still great news. I like that. In a weird way, it comes off as like an April Fool's joke, but it's an official announcement.
The funny thing is, he was the one who first announced it.
Yeah.
And it was just the tweet drove everybody like off. Like they were like, what is going on? And The Verge actually wrote, the first known ever person to play Macavity from Cats and Knuckles from Sonic.
Don't watch Cats. But
No, don't watch that. Don't, unless you want to go through a very unique experience, go ahead. But otherwise, not worth it. But yes, he is one of the few people, if not the only person in the entire world, to have just the weirdest, I'd say, credit roles in terms of
I'm open
his
for it.
range.
I'm definitely open for it. The first Sonic.
But the issue,
yeah,
is it going to be Zendaya in Space Jam again? That's
I don't think
the
they're
issue.
gonna make a Space Jam for another decade.
No. Is it gonna be like Zendaya in Space Jam?
Oh, as in it doesn't fit the character?
No. Is it gonna be like Scoob? Is it gonna be like Zac Efron and Scoob and whatnot? Even though, to be honest, Zac Efron and Scoob was the only one who sounded like it kind of works when he played Fred, but everybody else just sounded very wrong and very off. Daphne, etc. So are they gonna follow these footsteps? Even though I feel like I have a little bit more faith in Sonic and the team that's creating Sonic, but I'm still worried.
They've had a history of trying to really appease the fans and trying to make the first film work, and it's paid off. It is a guilty pleasure. It's a silly movie, so I won't be too critical. And
you will be. You will be.
I'm really curious to see how Idris Elba is going to tackle Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Come on, I don't think you're not going to be critical because it is a well-known, popular character. He has a certain voice.
I need to see a trailer, and then I can make a decision.
Yes, but I mean, like, you need to be very, I wouldn't say dubious, because again, I'm trying to be also optimistic.
Just keep my guard up.
Exactly, that's what I mean. You can't be like, they made the perfect decision. We don't know that because I don't recall seeing or watching or listening to Idris Elba do any sort of voice acting role, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. I never heard him do anything.
I know what I'm going to do this weekend on YouTube.
Listen to Idris Elba go.
Just movie scenes, tons of movie scenes.
Listen, he can, again, tone-wise, he can do it. He's capable of doing it. It's just that hitting the right tone. I mean, it worked with Ben Schwartz because even though Ben Schwartz is a very animated person and he has done voice acting, it's not his first, game. But I feel like they kind of a little bit gambled with him a tiny bit simply because they could have gone with any other voice actor who has done Sonic before. But I feel like now, even though that Sonic 2, the upcoming movie, already has the hype behind it, now they just pushed it even further because people are so curious with how Idris will sound as Knuckles. So I feel like, yes, it is, I wouldn't call it like sort of like a publicity thing.
Yeah.
But
it's getting people talking.
Exactly. But did they even need it in the first place? Not really, but it is working. So is it really a publicity thing? Or did they hear something in Idris that they were like, you know what? That kind of works.
I'm definitely stoked for this, but you know what I'm not stoked for? Another How I Met Your Mother show, but this time it's a spin-off, And instead of your mother, it's gonna be your father. Oh my God! Let's get into this. I know, Aisha, we're gonna babble on for a whole hour about this.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a rant to say the least. So if you want to join in the rant, you know what to do. Stay tuned and stay locked to Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
Unfortunately, we never got the the McGuire show on Hulu.
Lizzie McGuire. On Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus was and I remember at the time Hilary Duff, the actor for that character, she was saying, "Please, can we have this show on Hulu? We want it to be a little bit more mature," and it never seemed to
kick off or anything happen. Yeah.
But this time around, Hilary Duff has a new show, and it's coming out on Hulu, 10 episodes premiere, and it's titled, you will be surprised for this, it's titled How I Met Your Father.
Goodness. Okay, so I was one of the victims of How I Met Your Mother a long time ago, back when it came out. And
I'm here with you.
I used to watch it weekly. For years, I would keep up with the episodes. I believe it used to come out every Monday, and I was ready to go every Tuesday, I believe. Basically the next day, because I'll do Netflix. And I'd watch it diligently because I always wanted to know what happens in the end. And they gave us the worst finale anybody could ask for, and that finale, unforgivable, because it destroyed a lot of character growth, and it was so lackluster in terms of the wait and the patience we had to endure just to get to it, because we were so excited to find out what's going to happen in the last episode, only to find out that it was just chaos and it was terrible, and I hated every second of it. And that's when I realized that I wasted a good couple of years watching the series, and I'm pretty sure nobody in the entire world agrees that this is one of the they all can agree that this is one of the worst endings to a show ever. So now it feels like they're kind of opening a wound with another spin-off called How I Met Your Father. Now the good thing is, it's going to be a short series as far as we know. It's not going to be long, I believe. I'm not sure, unless they're going to drag it like How I Met Your Mother, because that was unnecessary. Why so many seasons? Goodness, why? So I'm I have like this tiny bit of hope inside of me that maybe, because it's played by Hilary Duff, it's gonna be good-ish, maybe, but beyond that, I have absolutely no faith.
Right from the get-go, I look at this and I'm like, this is a terrible pitch. This should have never been picked up. No money should have been put into it. How I Met Your Mother was a big deal back in those days. I get it. People loved it. It was like the next generation Friends, right? But it never had that payoff that people talk about.
No.
And trying to, it feels desperately trying to recreate that magic again. And I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Because I'm telling you, once it goes up, there's going to be tons of people, I think at least, they're going to be complaining about it and say, you should have never done this.
See, that's the funny thing, because they kind of spent 8 seasons, 9 seasons of the show, and people were so attached to it. And for one episode to completely destroy those 300, 400 episodes,
I'd say How I Met Your Mother died a little bit before that, in my opinion.
Honestly, I feel like people were strongly, they were just holding out until the end. That's what I meant. That's at the very least. And they had a strong following, even though it dragged on for too long, in my opinion. And I believe everybody can agree on that as well. But just shows you that one bad episode can destroy everything. But again, like I said earlier, at least for now, we're only getting 10 episodes. We're not sure how far they're going to take it. Are they going to give us 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons? Or are they going to just continue with the whole 10 episode?
It's like I would say this would be sort of like a pilot season.
I mean, technically, literally, it is. That's what the first season is. I mean, yes or no. But I think what they're doing is they're following this new trend of 10 episodes, 12 episodes maximum. They're not gonna go in and do 30 episodes anymore, because you cannot really. Maybe you might lose the person, people who are watching. I feel like a lot of those comedy sitcoms do not go on for that long anymore anyway. Even when you go with drama, romance, etc., they don't go beyond, again, maximum 21 episodes anymore.
That's better.
It is. You can honestly argue both ways, because sometimes it'd be like, maybe it's a good thing. It means they can wrap up a season properly. But also sometimes, if they do have the content to continue for an entire season, what is stopping them? Why are they pausing, making us wait like another 6, 7, 8 months before they get on with the story again? It could be a logistical thing, maybe. Could be that their schedules might clash. They might not have enough people around to film it. Could be a lot of reasons, but I believe that it could be just simply them following the trend of having a limited series or a short season.
How I Met Your Father, Texas 4215, it's still out there, do. It's happening. It's real. I said those words, and I'm not joking. I wish I was joking. This show is coming out in Hulu very soon. It's currently in production. We don't know the release date, but when it does come out, I'm gonna go through the trouble just for you guys to personally watch it. I will go through the pain.
Hilary Duff, that should be enough to drag you through it at the very least. And even the cast seems interesting. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about a rumor that perhaps Scarlett Johansson is going to be basically never going to be appearing in any Disney movie or show again, simply because Disney has cut off all ties with her. Coming up next, right here on the Afternoon Karak.
This is Pulse 95.
With the popularity of indie games, it only makes sense that all these big consoles, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, are trying to showcase more and more of them on their respective consoles. And with an indie world happening today with Nintendo, there was a recent one, a similar indie showcase for Xbox, where they spoke about a lot of their upcoming indie games.
Yes, Xbox showcased a live stream on Twitch, giving a highlight to some of the biggest indies that are coming on their platform. Now, there's a lot of these, but we're going to go through some of the personal favorites, the ones that stuck out to us. Starting off with Aeon Drive. This is a cyberpunk action platformer style game with a speedrunning twist. I always like these pixelated action platformer, 2D platformer games. I always enjoy those. What about you, Aisha?
Now, for me, I feel like I could not have had a game more catered to me than this one. It combines farming simulation with mecha.
Okay.
This is just super, when you have a target group and it's this tiny, this is for us guys.
Let's take these two extreme niches, put them together.
And you have me. Because there's a game called Lightyear Frontier, and it is open world farming simulator. So it's not even a closed game. It's an open world game. It has exploration, features crafting, it has resource management, base building, all of that, and farming, of course, but in mecha.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
That sounds really cool, and it supports four-player co-op as well, so it can also be a fun, family and friend game as well.
Another game is called Puparazzi, and it's a play on paparazzi with puppy. And basically, in this game, you are tasked by taking photos of adorable and wonderful dogs. And
I love that.
There's this one part of the gameplay where when you're taking a picture of the dog, they look too fashionistic. I'm like,
honestly, what do you know about dogs, Mikhail?
I'm sorry. I don't have.
Who knows? Maybe some dogs are just a little bit more fashionable than other dogs.
Yeah, but it's a cool game. I think it's also coming on Xbox Game Pass, which I actually do have a subscription for, so I definitely want to try it out. Any other games in the list?
I love those weird games that you do not really expect to, have as well, especially on an Xbox, because farm simulation game on Xbox is not something that you usually, correlate with each other. There is also Library of Ruina, which is, listen to this, a library battle simulation.
Oh, wow.
How does that work out? I don't know, but they look really cool while doing it. They have you battling against other librarians using die and using library cards. So it's super, super innovative and very imaginative, to say the least. And those are just, the weirdest and most fun games. And again, I don't really associate Xbox with those kind of games. Those are the kind of games I would definitely see on a Nintendo Switch, but very rarely so on Xbox.
There's also one last game I'd like to shout out for is RBG Time, where you play as just a student who has a notebook and is literally developing his own video game levels on the note, and he has to complete them before he leaves school. And it's all like all the nice little doodles and level designs all inside the compact of a notebook. Definitely see something. I see something unique here, and I definitely want to check it out.
Definitely. And it's just those are just a little bit, just a couple of the games that were announced. Some are already available on the Xbox Store, and some are going to be available a little bit later in the year or within the upcoming months. So check them out whenever you can. And it just shows how much diversification Microsoft is doing in terms of trying to get a whole new range of players into the world of Xbox. Coming up next, we jump into a whole new world as well. We move all the way to Spain, where a village seeks the UNESCO World Heritage status, not because they have a really cool building or they have unique cuisine, but rather for their amazing outdoor chats. Coming up next right here on the Afternoon Karak.
This is Pulse 95.
With just post-pandemic things, we've almost become conditioned to stay at home, to enjoy our entertainment digitally, and a lot of big entertainment companies out there have started to do simultaneous release. We're looking at Disney Plus, as well as HBO and Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Made this whole promise that they were going to pull out all of their movies simultaneously on digital release as well as theatrical release.
Simultaneously.
Despite the backlash. And now it seems like they are making some exclusive deals, starting off with AMC theaters, that they will be able to run any Warner Bros. Movies, HBO movies, exclusively on theaters for 45 days, or you could say 6 weeks before they have a digital release. So it's almost like it's an exclusive deal to do what they used to do in pre-pandemic and pre-COVID.
Basically, but I mean, it's a good thing for them. It's a bad thing for us over here because sometimes we don't want to go to the cinema and we'd rather just stay at home and find alternative to watch these movies. Or for example, with Disney and Disney Plus, we can go, check out OSN streaming, and they usually have the movie or TV show up. But with Warner Brothers and HBO Max, now it's going to be exclusively running in the theater for 45 days in the States. It's going to be causing issues for the rest of us, basically. And again, the people in the States who have been avoiding going to the cinema, I don't think it's going to help with the box office at all, to say the least.
Okay, so if we compare pre-COVID, in pre-COVID, it used to be 75 to 90 days exclusivity before you actually see these movies come out digital. So 45 days is it's a nice cut, you could say.
Yeah, but I feel like the thing is, they're usually
we enjoyed it while it lasted. That's how I'd put it.
True, but then they were hoping that this will help, uplift them and get them through the pandemic by having people come in and watch those movies. They're not. I mean, there's not going to be a difference because the movies were playing in the theater. Yes, it's going to force some people perhaps to come through and watch it. But at the same time, the people who weren't going to go out to the cinemas in the first place are not going to make an exception now. They're just going to wait for 45 days. They're going to force themselves to, stay away from the spoilers and whatnot and just watch it. Or they're still going to go to those alternative links. Even though they're going to be bootleg versions or they're not going to be as high quality, they're just going to be like, too bad.
But just bear in mind that theaters play an important role in the movie business, and that's why AMC is not only just negotiating with HBO and Warner Bros., they're also negotiating with Universal for 17-day exclusivity, Disney and Paramount to do 45 days. So this is not like now
they're trying their best.
We're seeing a sort of like a slow transition to what it used to be like.
Again, this is in the United States. This is not to count for a lot of countries around the world, including the UAE, that still has theaters running. And again, it's still not helping the box office. I know that what they're hoping is that it can help the theater itself stay afloat, as in they're going to be getting,
I think because they're interdependent, they need them just as much as they need them.
Yes, but I still think that it's not going to be as positive as I think it is. I mean, they can remain optimistic, but is it going to work out? Is it going to work out for them? Maybe a tiny bit, especially since they're the one making the deals with HBO Max or with Warner Brothers, Universal, Disney, etc. So we just need to wait and see if it works out for them
now,
or not. Yes.
just enjoy the simultaneous digital releases while you still can.
This basically means that a good amount of those big blockbuster movies, such as Dune and whatnot, are probably going to be definitely coming out only on theaters before it moves on to digital release. We're going to be wrapping up the hour before we let you go into the extended weekend with an Aisha and Mikhail suggest. So stay tuned for that and so much more right here on the Magic Hour, the Afternoon Karak.
It's almost 5 p.m.
That was Afternoon Karak.
For dessert,
Aisha and Mikhail suggest.
Now, if you missed out on any of our conversations, you guys know what to do. Check out our podcast. Go ahead and search up wherever you listen to podcasts, and that includes Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and then Rami, etc. Search up the Afternoon Karak, and you will find us there, and you can make sure that you are up to date with all our conversations. If you want to see our faces, our videos are also uploaded, as well as they are also simultaneously playing on none other than YouTube. So search up Pulse 95 Radio, and you can like, subscribe, comment, all of that, and so much more. Right now, we have Aisha and Mikhail suggest, and as usual, Mikhail is back with another useful suggestion.
So I'd like to suggest for people who bring in workers, any kind of maintenance service team to your house. I feel when you bring these kind of people over your house, you are responsible for their working condition. So my suggestion is to improve their working condition by making sure that that they have water, that they're well fed after hours of work, and even having the AC on during a hot day, because these guys, you know, they're like labor workers. They're gonna be sweating. They're gonna be uncomfortable, and you don't want that. So yeah, I feel like just a little suggestions, these little things that you can do while they're doing their job to ease their working condition.
Yes, definitely. I mean, the least you can do is give them water, give them some tea, some drinks, something like that, just to keep them going, and also make them feel welcomed as they do or do you that service. So be nice and be welcoming, because they are, even though they are workers or they're here to do a job, they're also technically your guests. And with that, we wrap up the hour and make way for Yalla Home, keeping you entertained from 5 p.m. all the way till 8 p.m. Hope you guys have a lovely weekend, a safe weekend, and a good weekend.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
if you liked this episode of Afternoon Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.